on lockdown, I've decided to just do a really simple, short program, just really practicing some fundamentals. And so I've chosen the overhead press and the 3-point row. So I have a vertical upper body push, and I've got a horizontal pull. And I'm gonna follow that up with like 100 to 150 swings, which might sound like a lot, but really this is pretty manageable in terms of exercise load. And that's the point. I'm doing a lot of physical work. I'm just gonna try to focus on maintaining my body, which is what I spend half my time doing anyway when I'm doing training. And I try to do that on my off days as well, where I'm just getting my body moving and warmed up for the day's work. I picked these two exercises because they fill in some blanks that I'm really not getting in my outdoors work. In my outdoors work, I'm doing a lot of chopping type motions. I'm pushing a lot of stuff. I'm going and grabbing and doing a lot of deadlifting of heavy stumps and heavy rocks and stuff like that. So this is actually something that my shoulders really, really like when I do it with kettlebell. I'm just gonna look to maintain my shoulder health as they're getting kind of abused with a lot of other things. So the overhead press is coordinating my shoulder blade with the ball and socket joint here and practicing that. And I'm working with a 24 kilo or 53 pound kettlebell, which is kind of a heavier weight for me. So this is a good opportunity to practice it, 2 to 3 days a week and try to get a little bit better at my press. And then the bent over row, same thing. I'm not doing a whole lot of just like pulling stuff towards me. So I'm just trying to practice that so I can kind of balance out these stressors on my body a little bit. And with the kettlebell swings, the point of that is to hit a really high intensity heart rate and vary it. So it goes up, high heart rate, low heart rate, high heart rate, low heart rate, but not like a whole lot of volume. I'm not trying to kill myself. And I'm doing that because while I do exert myself a lot outside, it is more of in this kind of like medium or medium low or medium high kind of heart rate range, where I'm really not pushing it to that 90% threshold or 95% threshold. So I'm just trying to give my body a wide variety of different stimuli to try to keep my body in shape while I'm on this lockdown. I'm doing something called a press ladder. So I'm gonna start with one hand. This is getting into this part, it's called the clean. So I'm gonna get the kettlebell over here, clean it, and then do one on this arm. Then I'm just gonna put it down, switch, do one on the other arm. Then add a rung to the ladder, so 2 on the right arm, 2 on the left, and a third rung on the ladder, so 3 on the right, 3 on the left.
new one for me. I'm trying out the Humpback Trail, and I'm starting in the picnic area, and it is a lonely place at the moment. There's literally nobody else here. But I want to take full advantage, and let's see where this hiking trail goes. It's my first time here, and I'm just looking to try out different mountain paths and different trails, and just try to scout it out, see what things Christina might like and what she might not, and just play around here, explore a little bit. That's why I love mountain walking over just flat city walking. In the city, when I'm walking just on flat ground, I'm on the sidewalk, there's no uneven terrain. That's just something that's kind of weird to the human body. Human body is used to dealing with stuff more like, kind of like that. I mean, even this is pretty flat, but it forces like our joints and our feet, knees and hips to articulate all of their ranges of motion that they do, which is kind of an important thing for the human body. But we don't get that on flat asphalt. The other thing, cardiovascularly, you can hear me huffing and puffing a little bit. It's because I'm walking uphill. And I recall reading about a blue zone thing. The blue zone is where there's an unusually large concentration of people that are 100 years or older. Places like Sardinia, Okinawa have a lot of blue zones, a lot of older people. And in Sardinia, they realized that these people walk like an absurd amount per day. And so this Arizona walking club tried to replicate those results by having people go for walks in their neighborhoods. And they weren't getting anything from that. I mean, I'm sure they were getting something, but they didn't get the same kind of health results that maybe they were expecting. And they realized that Sardinia is extensively mountainous, and that these people were taking extraordinarily intense walks every single day. And that's just what you can't get in the city, but here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, I have it all around me. But I do have to concentrate on what I'm doing here. Check that out, it's an old stone wall. It's an old rock wall just sitting there. Let's go check it out. Well, this thing goes on for a while. So cool. When I think of these, I think of like neat like Civil War battle scenes where like you have Confederates and Unions, people shooting at each other. Or you got soldiers from each side shooting at each other, taking pot shots and drama. And in reality, as I'm learning, there's just rocks all over the goddamn place. And I think that a lot of people just clearing their fields, they had to do something with the rocks, so they just made these walls because it's the material that they had on hand. That's certainly the case for us. We're gonna be building some rock walls in our future. So my usual work life, I run a personal studio, and I work in a field that kind of has overlap between health, fitness, and rehab. And I hold a number of different licenses and certifications. Working with the people hands-on and helping them get stronger, helping them live better lives and healthier lives. Yeah, I focus a lot on building systems and habits instead of focusing on goals. So for example, the goal would be like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds and I'm going to go on a diet until I lose that. And the problem here is that you've now put yourself squarely on the wrong side of your goal, meaning that you are currently failing. You are not 20 pounds lighter. Next week, you will not be 20 pounds lighter. And that's kind of a weird mind thing to do to oneself. And I think that's part of why people can only stick with these plans for so long. It's like once their motivation runs out, they're screwed. So what I have focused on doing is building a system. So using this example, I would like to have a little less body fat on me. And to do that, I need to build systems. So the systems I'm building are ones that are running. Get over that log. Building systems that run in the background on their own. So it's just a normal, habitual part of my life that's going to help me reach that less body fat I'm aiming for. So for example, I practice something called intermittent fasting. What that is a compressed eating window. So say between like 12 or 1 o'clock and like 7 or 8 o'clock, that's the window where I eat all of my food for the day. And so once I'm done eating by 8, I'm fasting as I sleep, and then I continue that fast after I wake up for a few hours to total usually between like 14 to 18 hours total fasting. I try to do that every day. And then I time my walks. So this one's a little bit more exertion than usual, but my walks are usually like a low-level aerobic zone, which is a really great fat-burning zone. You can be fasted, you can do your low-level aerobic work for 45 to 90 minutes, and you're not dipping into your muscle stores. Your body, it's not so intense that your body's trying to digest its own muscles to do it. So you're in this catabolic state. So when you wake up, this is when your cortisol is the highest. And cortisol is not good or bad, it just is. And part of what it does is break down things. And it also wakes you up. So it's part of what wakes you up in the morning, and it's very, very high. And this is called a catabolic state, or a burning state, a breaking down state. And what your body's doing naturally during this time is breaking down fat and burning fat. And that will continue until you have your first batch of significant calories. And that is going to spike your insulin. And insulin ends that catabolic state, and insulin brings on an anabolic state in which you are building and storing. So, because right now it's like, I don't know, 11 or 12. And I haven't eaten yet. And I'm already in this kind of catabolic burning state. And then I'm adding on like a nice low-level aerobic work set that is just going to burn fat even more. So I'm trying to maximize this, and this is my habit. This is what I do several days a week. I mean, I intermittent fast every day, but then I do this walk several days a week, and I try to do it as fasted as possible. You know, another reason for being out on these walks in the forest is something the Japanese call Shinrin-yoku, which is loosely translated as forest bathing. So you're literally like bathing in the forest, bathing yourself in the sounds. There's a term for it, but there's the sound of the wind blowing through the branches and leaves of the trees. It's the way the sunlight filters through the branches. It's the bird song. It's just everything about being out in the forest, and you just immerse yourself in it. And it is truly a quieting and meditative experience. And there have been a lot of studies done on it where they actually measure the indicators of stress in the blood and have people do before and after, and it has an actual physiological effect on the body. So it's not just the mind, it's not just enjoyment, it's actually a really big stimulus for your physical, emotional, spiritual well-being. So really neat. I discovered this by accident in 2014 and 2015 when I was going through a tough time. I was going through a divorce, and my body, I just kind of went on this weird autopilot where I did everything right somehow. Like I was getting like 10 hours of sleep a night, was eating really healthy, dropped a bunch of weight, was exercising 5 days a week, and just went to work, came home, and that's it. And I found myself driving out sometimes as much as like an hour or two outside of DC to go for walks and just spend a couple hours out in the forest and walking different trails, being out in the woods. And it got me through that rough period. It was a big part of it. I think it's a big part of why I was so interested in moving out into the country, other than just farming and, you know, all the other reasons why I'd want to do that. Shinrin-yoku. I'm going to focus on what I'm doing.